After Chrysler approached you with this problem-solving idea of trying to get them back on their feet in the boat business, I understand that during this period of time, the late 60s, the sailboat industry was quite at a boom. There was a lot of boats being built, a lot of people buying boats, a lot of different manufacturers of boats. As a co-designer with Rod, why were you interested in working with Chrysler? Were there some features about the Chrysler Corporation that kind of piqued your interest?
Yes, definitely. One thing that we were uninterested in, of course, and realized had to be solved was our virtual total lack of expertise in the sailboat game. But up at that time, the sailboat business was rather like, you want to buy a boat, you order a boat, I'll build you a boat.
Mm-hmm.
And Chrysler's infrastructure was such that they had 5 area warehouses where they inventoried boats. They had, I don't know, 75 salesmen on the road, peddling marine products, a major advertising budget, and a production facility that could virtually build as many boats as they could sell.
Mm-hmm. So Chrysler was actually in a production of motorboats, inboard, outboard units, and outboard motors, as well as sailboats.
Right. And no other sailboat manufacturer had that capability. The problem was to turn them into a marketing organization that could sell sailboats. They had the rest of the infrastructure in place to do the distribution and manufacturing.
How did you think Chrysler was going to go about training people to be able to sell sailboats?
Well, the first thing they had to have was a sales manager or a division manager, whatever you want to call him, who was very knowledgeable and a good peddler. And we imported a Brit who met those qualifications, named Roy Bacon, and he became the general manager of the sailboat division. And Chrysler, being who they are, and recognizing the need to educate not only their salespeople, but also the dealer organization, one of the significant things they did was to build 4 sailing simulators screwed on a boat trailer that would respond to helm, respond to the tiller, heel over. The only ingredient missing was water. And they could stand around on dry land and teach one guy in the boat, and while 10 other people listened. They also furnished those on a schedule to dealers who wished to use them. It was a vastly successful program. In a matter of a year or so, probably a third of their sales force were now sailors on their own.
I know the general population of sailors understand that the Buccaneer was designed by you and Rod for Chrysler, but I am sure that they don't realize the range of boats that you actually designed and built for Chrysler. Can you kind of review for us today each boat and the chronology of those boats, and kind of describe each boat?
The first boat that Chrysler actually did was called Man of War, was not the Buccaneer of our designs. We had done a Man of War design and prototype for Starcraft Boat Company, and they got bought out by Bangor Punta, and they decided not to do the Man of War, so it existed.
As a design.
As a design, it was ready to go, and it was a laser kind of a boat. Not as effective as the laser as a performance boat, but a bit weak in the bow, but a very attractive little boat. That was the first one. Buccaneer was the second, followed by the Mutineer, which is a 15-footer, kind of a cousin of the Buccaneer in appearance.
The idea of designing the Buccaneer for Chrysler was that it would be a one-design racing sailboat?
Yes, absolutely.
Supported by the association, class association.
Yes, absolutely. I've always been a firm believer in the one design concept that all boats must be alike, and you measure the skill of the helmsman and crew, as opposed to who designs the fastest boat.
Okay. The Mutineer was the second or third boat in the series. A lot of people have the concept that the Mutineer is just a small version or chopped off version of the Buccaneer. Is that true, or is the Mutineer totally an individual design on its own right?
The Mutineer is totally different in the terms of the hull form. You're dealing with a 15-foot boat that essentially had to float 2 people. So in order to do this, you had to increase the volume of the immersed sections to be able to do that. It isn't just an 18-foot Buccaneer with 3 feet lopped off the stern.
Okay.
And if you notice, it's very much more full in the bow.